So I decided to head to the London Bike Show for the first time, and I went on the Sunday because I thought it might be a bit quieter. Wasn't any cheaper though, but as you'll see from the footage coming up, there was some really interesting stuff there, from electric bikes to fat trikes, which was something I really wanted to see, and just some really weird and wonderful and rather expensive bikes to look at. So I headed off to the Velorution stand, first thing that really caught my eye. Lots of beautifully finished bikes, a lot of fixed and single speed bikes, touring stuff, commuter bikes, undoubtedly nice, a little bit verging on the hipster for my liking, but undoubtedly good quality, decent prices as well. German bikes from Rose there, and on the left hand side, big selection here from Pinarello, as usual, always turn up mob-handed. Beautiful bikes, everyone knows about Pinarello bikes, way out of my price league, and probably most others as well. I really like this 29er Enduro bike from Stanton, another British manufacturer, and that's actually a steel frame there. And then just looking at this monstrous gearing on the cross hardtails there. Now heading over to the Kona stand, one of the biggest stands on display, a veritable treasure trove of variety that had gravel bikes, cyclocross stuff, some fixed speed, plenty of mountain bikes, particularly full suspension enduro type bikes, just really nice, and such a wide range. I think from memory this is their operator model, which is a full-on balls out 200mm suspension front and back downhill bike. I think 27.5 tyres on there, and that looks to me like a rigid plus bike. Pretty sure it had 3-inch tyres on. Yeah, really nice bikes. So I was aware that there was the Air to the Throne competition taking place just to the side of the arena. Some of these guys are absolutely incredible, and those jumps were particularly savage, and I wouldn't fancy coming off, to be honest, mid-air. But unbelievable display of skill. I think some of the world's best free riders were there. I do believe it was a full-on competition for prize money, so yeah, props to these guys, it was really impressive. So popping over to the Factor stand, some really slick looking aero bikes, some time trial stuff, super expensive but gorgeous looking bikes. Particularly taken by this one, the paint job on, I think it's their 1 model. It's not a TT bike specifically, but it's just really aero, I suppose for crits and stuff. I have to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why the Watt Bike stand attracted so much attention. I mean, the place was absolutely full every time I went over. Really undeniably superb piece of training kit, but unless you're a millionaire, it seems a bit over-egged. You just stick with a basic turbo trainer, or as I've got, a recumbent exercise bike. Does the job perfectly. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Boardman bikes. I think they're excellent value for money. I think they're really nicely designed. You can see there, that's their CXR, one of the cyclocross models. And yeah, just really good bikes. I think mainly built in Britain, probably some stuff from China, but yeah, decent stuff. And then looking at the orange stand, all stuff that I could just really not afford, but proper eye candy. This electric full suspension bike was awesome, particularly like the way that they've integrated that battery into the down tube. Some really lovely stuff, and again made in the UK as well. Now, coming on to something that particularly caught my eye as a big fan of fat bikes, was this Sonda Veer Fortis. This runs SRAM GX Eagle, I think. It's fully carbon, frame and forks, and we've got sufficient gear in there to get up Mount Everest, to be honest. Beautiful bike, and it's about £1,900, so actually really good value for a carbon fat bike. And they also had some really nice plus bikes. You can see there, 3-inch tyres, enduro stuff, some really nice frames as well. Nice impressive bike packing setup here, and coming up a superb hack as well if you tend to camp with your bike, proper bike packing. I never thought of that, but that's given me some ideas. So next I headed over to the Cervelo stand. Not sure how you meant to pronounce that, but the accent on the E was to suggest Cervelo. But yeah, the Canadian manufacturer, world renowned for producing aero bikes, time trial bikes, triathlon specific gear, and a whole host of other road style bikes, particularly like this one. 14 grand, 13.5 grand. Again, probably a bit far out of my price range. Just on the other side of the Focus stand here as well, just had to go and have a look at this bike. Just the colour scheme, forget the actual bike and its componentry, just really love those colours. Really need to get me one of those mats as well for my turbo trainer at home. Superb.
That's quite good. Tim's pointed out earlier, the one that goes under the seat.
Now Focus is another manufacturer that's really taking the e-mountain bike revolution very seriously. There's a good level of bikes on display here. These ones I think were, well, this one certainly was a cross-country bike, 100mm or 120mm travel at the front, 250 watt Shimano motor. One of the less obvious and less in your face mid-drive setups, quite small proportions there, so that was quite impressive. This one I think was, if I remember rightly, more kind of all mountain geometry. Might even be kind of veering into enduro, but yeah, another one I think that's got a 250 watt motor on it. Again, really sleek, beautiful paint job as well. Nice little E penny farthing there, but this is from Switchbike, just demonstrating one of the few companies, handful of companies that provide bolt-on electric motors. And I really like this integrated light on that helmet, but £96. I think the price is a bit rich there, but I would hope to see that technology more frequently used. Absolutely loved the burnt orange colour and the finish on that Factor road bike. Superb. Next I just wandered over to the Form stand. Good selection of bikes here. Another British manufacturer as well. Kind of really pushed the fact that their bikes are handmade and in inverted commas tested around the Derbyshire Dales. I think they're based in the Peak District, so that's cool. Really liked that little transporter e-bike there, very, very slick. Just noticed that there was a fabric saddle there, turned to the left and found a whole wall full of saddles, as you do in a saddle company's area, I guess. I've got a fabric saddle as well on my mountain bike, really did love it for a year, but it's literally fallen to pieces now. Not a huge amount to say about the GT stand. Plenty of really nice looking bikes, downhill stuff, enduro, a couple of hardtails. Yeah, decent quality bikes, decent prices as well. So if this looks like the GT stand again, is because it basically is. These are Cannondale bikes, same company that owns GT, Mongoose, Schwinn, a number of other companies. Really nice bikes though, to be fair. Really nice colour schemes, good quality wheels, components. Yeah, still bolted together really nicely. Just need to focus on that one. Absolutely concur with the message that bike's delivering, and I love the pink as well. Oh, and then I stopped for a quick little vegan-based snack. I am a veggie with vegan tendencies, so that one took a bit of interest. Not as disgusting as most other energy snacks, I must say. Although this drink, the ginger-based drink, don't know if I could deal with too much of that on a large ride, to be fair. So I wandered over to see a really large and varied selection of e-bikes. Got full suspension there, kind of hybrid with front suspension as well. This is from Moustache, I think they're a French manufacturer. So it's really quirky stuff there. I really like these bags as well. I think they're about £19, so for a bike shop, relatively well priced as well. Oh, and then I stopped because this guy wouldn't get up. He wanted to massage my leg. So who am I to say no? And then over to my favourite stand. I've been salivating over a fat trike for so long now. So I took the opportunity to wander over to the ice stand. Again, I think Cornwall-based company, really lovely blokes, had a long chat with them, and if you look at my YouTube channel, there's a separate video just focusing on the ice full fat trike. This one is the model that is rigid at the front with kind of elastomers at the back for a bit of suspension, but you can get it in a full suspension format. Fantastically comfortable seat. This thing has gone to the North Pole, I think, and yeah, it's just a magnificent piece of engineering. Very expensive though. There's the Kotick Rocket there, it's a 27.5 enduro bike. And then just back to the aerial display again. So there was quite a large emphasis on e-bikes and e-bike culture generally and innovations within this sector. A whole section to kind of one side of the XL which was dedicated to different manufacturers, and a test track as well. And I actually tested the bike in this frame here. It's the Batribike Delta. That's just a hardtail 29er, fairly kind of basic components, but fairly well screwed together, and it is a hub motor as opposed to a mid-drive. But the battery pack has been really slickly integrated into that down tube, and at 1,500 quid, you can't really complain. That's great value for money, and it was really quite a pleasure to ride as well. Here we are at Colnago. Couldn't take my eyes off that paint job. Superb, but ludicrously expensive. The kind of thing you'd imagine kind of 50 somethings wearing lycra, riding around Surrey would probably be kitted out with. But yeah, again, like Pinarello, those kind of guys at that level of the market, it's just really top quality stuff. Fesca road bikes were actually really nicely screwed together as well. Lovely colour scheme there. And the Spectre version. I think they got a disc version of that as well. This is a Czech company, so good to see some innovation from the Eastern Bloc. A nice hybrid Kalkoff electric bike there, probably operating at the higher end of the e-bike market. run clipless pedals on my mountain bikes. I do more climbing than kind of gravity orientated riding, but integrated flats and clipless, really good idea, something I'll probably invest in. So I just popped over to Argon 18. I think they're a Canadian company, kind of specialise more on the aero side of things, so lots of TT and triathlon bikes in their range. That's really nice. Now I thought, rather naively perhaps, that Look were kind of more into manufacturing of components and parts for both road and mountain bikes, but actually they had a couple of really nice bikes on display here. And then back to Factor again, just looking at that slick model. It's a TT bike. A couple of really nice classic retro road bikes there as well. So here's a turn up at North Road. Found this full rig for £1,050. Unheard of this show. Very cheap. And fell in love with this Scott e-bike, E-Genius 700. Can't remember what motor that is, but again, really slickly integrated battery on the down tube, nice mid-drive. The one in the back, really stealthy. And then pop back over to Pinarello again, just to take in some more bikes that I can't afford. So, in summary, London Bike Show 2018, thoroughly worthwhile, worth the entry money easily, plenty of variety, lots of different stuff to see, from road bikes to TT, triathlon stuff, mountain bikes, e-bikes, touring stuff, brilliant variety. Personal highlights for me though, the ICE full fat trike, wonderful piece of engineering and it just looks incredible. I've got a recent obsession with recumbents as well. On the lower end of the scale, value for money wise, the Batribike Delta really impressed me, albeit it's not mid-drive, so less fashionable, but it still gets around nicely. The Scott E-Genius 700, because I thought it was the best looking bike at the show by far. And then finally the Sonder carbon fat bike, £1,900 for that kind of quality, unbelievable value for money.